and to pay tribute to the life and legacy of marhum Moulana Nazeem Hunter, rahimahumullah. And this morning we're joined by his daughter, Qaanitah Hunter. Qaanitah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jummah Mubarak to you. And up front, we obviously want to express our condolences and also our sadness at the passing away of your honorable dad.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Barakallah.
Right, Qaanitah, I first met your father while I was studying at the Darul Uloom in Newcastle, and I was doing Arabic for about a year. And I know it's a long time ago, and I just want to share my thoughts. And I've reflected and to look at the personality of your marhum father, whom I found to be a humble, dedicated, disciplined, quiet, unassuming. And sometimes I must say he was very, very serious as well. But really a personality who had actually stood out head and shoulders in terms of his dedication and discipline amongst all the students who were there at that point in time at Darul Uloom in Newcastle.
Absolutely, Brother Inayat. The amount of stories that we've heard from his peers at the time and people who had studied with him in Darul Uloom Newcastle during that time has been absolutely heartwarming, in the sense that his discipline, his commitment to Deen, his unwavering commitment to the Arabic language and to the studying of Deen has been almost hair raising. Stories of how he would focus 9 years of his life in Newcastle studying Deen under Moulana Nazeem Hunter, rahimahullah, who he loved very, very greatly, and they shared a very, very, very close bond. The amount of sort of stories that we've been hearing, not only now since his passing, but obviously in his life as well, of how he had that discipline to study, and not only that, to help other students who had come to Darul Uloom Newcastle. And it's something that we have seen consistently throughout his life. My father was an extremely studious person, completely committed to Deen, someone who would not go a day without reading a hadith and fiqh. He had a absolute fascination for fiqh, and even in his latter days when he was not well, there was never a hadith that you could be reading 2 or 3 rooms away that he couldn't correct you on. And his mind, Allah had blessed his mind in a way that we could not even fathom. That even when he was not well, he still remembered every single thing. There was never a story of Deen. There was never a hadith. There was never an ayat of the Quran that, had I phoned him or anyone phoned him to ask for that, he would be able to tell you immediately. The same with tafsir. His knowledge of tafsir was absolutely awe-inspiring. Sometimes if you needed an answer to a question, even when he was sick, we would call him, and so many others would as well, and he would know the answer instantly. And that, for me, in my childhood, was what drove us as a family to be to focus our energy on Deen, because we saw our father doing that our entire lives.
Yes. Now, also, Sister Qaanitah, it is clear, and from what you've just described, that a person of his stature has left a huge void. He's left a big gap for the ummah at large, and also for you as his daughter, and for the rest of the family. And just looking at it, as a family, and as we pay tribute, as we celebrate his life, as we celebrate his legacy that he has left behind, if you could just tell us, take us through some of the key issues that spring to your mind in terms of his life and the legacy that he's left behind.
The foremost thing for me, Brother Inayat, is that my father never missed a salah. His commitment to salah was something I've never ever seen elsewhere in my life, and his fikr for those around him, especially us as his kids, to not miss salah, is something that was so palatable. He would walk to the masjid. He would always be early for salah. No matter the condition that he is, no matter whether he's, it's cold or hot, my father was deeply, deeply committed to his salah. There was never a phone call that they would call me, and he would not say, are you reading your salah on time? His commitment to charity and it was so. It was just the biggest running joke in our family that you could not keep him even with a 10 rand because he would give it away in sadaqah, and my father never ever asked me for anything in terms of any monetary gain or any financial thing. The only thing he would ask me for and ask his kids for is to give sadaqah to people. Just the day before he passed away, there was 3 beggars that had come, and he insisted that my sister gave him a large amount of money, because and he would constantly say, "Lan tanalu al-birra hatta tunfiqu mimma tuhibbun." You will not reach piety unless you spend from that which you love. And he would constantly say that to us, to the point that he would inculcate giving his shoes, even though that was last pair of shoes. And it was something that we used to almost laugh and jest about, that this is how he is. But when you reflect now, you realize how much giving and generosity and sharing was to my father. It's absolutely astounding that this man had no connection to the dunya. 2 days before he passed away, I had a very jovial relationship with him, and I asked him, "What's new?" And he said, "There's nothing new. We're all going to the hereafter." And I said to him, "It's an old story. You've been saying this your whole life." And we laughed about it. And that was the caliber of my father, who he prepared for. I've never met anyone who's prepared for the akhirah so much, especially so after my mom passed away 3 years ago. His yearning and longing for the hereafter was so palatable, that he truly lived in this world as if he was a traveler. That he lived in this world with not harming many people, not saying too many bad things, and even in the greatest of tests that Allah had given him in the latter part of his life, where he was really ill, he would face his illness with so much amount of patience, and even where sometimes we couldn't reconcile the discomfort that he was in, he would be most patient in those circumstances, and Allah reward him for that patience. Amen.
Sister Qaanitah, we can go on for talking, and I'm sure there will be a lot of memories that will be flashing through your mind. There will be a lot of people whose lives he had touched that will still come forward and will say a lot, because it is clear that his legacy and his life that we are talking about today, he certainly has left a huge gap. Because the loss of an alim of his stature is a huge loss, but also in terms of leaving his footprints in the sands of time. So these memories are going to linger on, and at this point in time, our du'as are with you, our du'as are with the family. Allah grant you all sabrun jameel at a very, very difficult time like this, but also at the same time, for Moulana rahimahumullah, our du'as over him, Allah grant him forgiveness, Allah fill his qabr with nur, and grant him the highest stages in Jannah, inshallah. And we certainly do appreciate it. I know it's difficult, but we say Jazakallah to you for coming on and sharing your father's life with us.
Barakallah, Uncle Inayat. There's been so many people who reached out, that who my father, has touched their life in some way. We appreciate all the words of condolences, the du'as, especially during this time. There's nothing more that we could appreciate than du'as. And if whoever's listening can just read the whole three calls for my father or Surah Yasin, we'd really appreciate it, because there's nothing that we can send. This man lived for the Quran, and the only thing that we can do now is celebrate him through reading the Quran and sending the Zawab Ijariya to him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept his life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept his sacrifices. He has sacrificed so much for the deen. He sacrificed so much for his family. And the only thing that we can pray and hope for is that what is meeting him on the other side is a garden from the gardens of Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy on his children, inshallah. And please remember us in your du'as. It's an absolutely difficult time. And we really appreciate this opportunity.
Ameen to all your du'as as well, Sister Qaanitah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa
rahmatullahi. And yeah, it's so high, I just break down and cry. I remember your eyes.
Tune into Salam Media via audio stream or watch live facebook.com/Salam Media.
And with one voice, let's all say, Barakallahu lakuma wa baraka alaykum.